go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is the latest film in the Ghostbusters franchise. It is directed by Gil Kenan this time around. It is a direct sequel to the previous film, Ghostbusters Afterlife. And once again stars Carrie Coon, McKenna Grace, Finn Wolfhard, Paul Rudd as the new family of Ghostbusters who, after their adventures in Oklahoma, are now back in the Big Apple, dealing with various ghostly threats, including a new threat from antiquity that threatens to wrap the world in ice. Now, this review will contain spoilers of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, as well as certain other things. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first and foremost, however, so with that in mind, let's get into some spoiler-free talk on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Is it a good Ghostbusters movie? Is it as good as the previous movie, even? And is it a good theatrical experience? I would say, as a theatrical experience, you know, this is one of those definitely crowd-pleaser movies, so as a theatrical experience, this was a fun time to be in the theater. But as far as a Ghostbusters movie, I would say there's some fun to be had, but it's not, and for my mind, it's not as good as the first film. Now, I would say that knowing that many people I know, especially critics, I know were less than kind, let's say, to Ghostbusters Afterlife because of what they called excessive fan service or whatever, and you know, all those member bears like, oh, they're showing this, and you know, expecting you to laugh. They don't like it just because you showed them this thing, and there's really not much else in this movie aside from that. And while I can't say I disagree that they handled all of the member berries perfectly, I would say, you know, the previous movie was definitely it was one of those rare legacy sequels that I think handled the tributes to the original well, while also telling a new enough story, or the same story with new characters in a way that made it feel fresh in my mind. And it was also a great tribute to the late Harold Ramis. Now, this new movie, Frozen Empire, also has those kind of member berries, and some of them are fine, but they're much more of a distraction this time around. I think that's also because they feel very much shoehorned into the movie, because this movie has a ton going on here. I mean, I tell you, you know, there's the main plot of this new demon, I believe it's called Garaka, from ancient times, who was imprisoned and is about to get let loose, and if he does, you know, the world's going to get covered in ice. Okay, that's one main threat. That should be the main point. However, we got another plot of, you know, McKenna Grace's Phoebe. She's, you know, been sidelined by the Ghostbusters because the mayor of New York, who's now Walter Peck, William Atherton's character, he's got to throw child labor laws out of it. All right, so yeah, you can't work until you're 18, otherwise. And so now she's got, you know, this whole angst thing. Oh well, I'm one of the main Ghostbusters. What am I going to do now? How can you sideline me? She's got the whole angsty teenager thing going on. Then there's all the other plots involved with that. There's another plot involving, Ernie Hudson's character with Zeddemore. He's, you know, the head of this kind of offshoot of the Ghostbusters, like the Ghost Academy, not the Ghost, like a research lab where they study the ghosts and extract, you know, and ghosts from haunted artifacts or whatever. So there's that whole thing going on. Then you got the original Ghostbusters cast, who, again, with Woody Zeddemore, you got Ray, the Aykroyd's character. He's back, and he's got kind of a mentor-mentee relationship between him and Phoebe. That could be fun, except there's all this other stuff going on. There's also a plot with, you know, Camille Nanjiani's character. Again, I'm not even saying everything that's going on here, because there's just so much going on, and this isn't a long movie per se, but it feels long, especially the way this movie focuses on certain things. I mean, really, where the fun really starts. Only doesn't really get going to the last third of the movie, and that first 2/3, it drags, I think, and that's really a shame because I mean some of these characters they were the best parts of the previous movie. McKenna Grace, I mean, she was great in Afterlife, and here she's got the whole angsty teenager thing going on, and maybe it's just my point in my life at this point, but maybe the way she handled it or the story handled her at this point, but. I just can't do the whole angsty teenager thing. My life is terrible stuff. And it's like that the movie focused way too much on that. And if you wanted to make it the whole movie about that, it should have done that instead of tossing it with all this other stuff going on here. And there's a whole again, we're not going to spoilers. There's a whole subplot involving another ghost. That again, I just could not get on board with, and it's like there was some payoff there that they were trying to go for, and it just was not working, and I don't know. The shame for me is like the previous film. Yes, there was some pandering fan service, but it was fun. It was a fun callback, and this should have been a continuation of that in that same vein, and. They made it different. They were trying to call their shots. They were trying to say, hey, we're going to try and make this feel like an episode of the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon. And there were steps in that direction, but I think because they stuffed all this other stuff in there, it didn't really work. Also, the original cast, Bill Murray is there, but he really just shows up, to say, hey, I showed up, give me a paycheck, bye. It's like, okay, cool. Was Ernie Hudson's there for part of it, and Ray, he has a little bit more to do, but again, if you just put Ray in there, I don't think anyone, and none of the other ones, I don't think anyone else would mind. I mean, Annie Potts as Janine, she's there, I guess. Again, it's like, why on earth are we doing this? And again, there's so much that is in this movie that doesn't go anywhere, and what does go places, I think, didn't land per se. And also, it doesn't help that a lot of the people in this movie, it feels like they don't really want to be there. I mean, Finn Wolfhard, his character was already kind of superfluous in the previous movie, Afterlife, but here he's really superfluous. He's gone for large chunks of the movie, and it's like, why did you even have him here? And also, I forgot the actors' names, but the characters of Lucky and Podcast from the previous movie, they're here too, and it feels like they're only here because they're in the last movie, so they gotta be in here now, right? It's like, they had nothing. There's no point to those characters. And it's like, why? So, there is some fun to be had, especially near the end. I think there's one ghost in particular, they call it a possessor. All you see is just a little, like a red, particle trail just zipping in around. This whole shtick is that it can only possess inanimate objects. It's like, okay, there's some fun to be had there. There's a little bit of fun there, but I think you've seen it in the trailer. One of the lions in front of the New York Library comes to life. That could have been fun, but there's really not much else that the possessor does aside from that, and that's a huge letdown in my opinion. And also, Camille Nanjiani's character, he got some chuckles out of me there, but while he seems to be the only one, he did a couple of what I call, harnessing the awkward silence and also interruption comedy. There's so much of that in here, so many attempts to do it, and it works the first time, then after that it's like, why are we still doing this? It's not a funny bit. So, I don't know what to tell you. This was, there is some fun to be had. I think it's worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters, but I would say don't get your hopes up too much on this one. So if I was going to give Ghostbusters Frozen Empire a letter grade, I would say this is probably, I don't want to be too harsh, so I'll give it a middle-of-the-road C on that front. I was tempted to go C-, but I think this is ultimately kind of forgettable, honestly, and that's really a shame. So, those are my main spoiler-free thoughts on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now let's get some spoiler talk. as certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. There are a couple things that I noticed. One, and there's the whole coming of age thing going on here with Phoebe, and she meets up with the ghost Melody, and they have a thing going on there, and ultimately it's because it revealed that she was kind of playing Phoebe the whole time because she was serving Garaka somewhat just because she needs the door to open so that she can go see her parents or something. It's like, all right, cool, but ultimately that whole plot thread. This was, I'm sure this thread has been done in other movies like this, but for me, the one that came to my mind was Disney's Hercules, especially maybe just because the force behind who's playing behind the scenes, moving the players, so to speak, made me think that Garaka as Hades and Melody as Meg, playing them and basically getting Phoebe, to give away her powers or get her soul out of her body, so to speak, so that she can possess them. There's an interesting dynamic going on there, and you could have done more with that again, but there's so much stuff going on. You gotta skip to the next, to the next, to the next. And also with Kumail Nanjiani's character, they kind of did this thing where he's the ancestor of these. I'm not a huge Avatar Last Airbender fan, but I'm sure all of the Firebender people are going, "Oh, he's a Firebender! He's a Firebender!" But it's like, yeah, whatever. For my mind, the connection there is maybe think of The Mummy Returns, where Brendan Fraser's character, he turns out, he's actually the member of this secret order. He's a Magi, and he's been prophesied that he's going to be the one to take down the mummy. And just like Commander Nanjiani's character, he's the one who's the Firebender, and his powers are the one who are integral to keeping Garaka at bay and forcing him into the trap. So there's that for you. I didn't have a whole ton else over there. I'm sure there's others, but those are the main ones that came to my mind. What did you think of Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, or Godzilla Times Kong, however you want to pronounce that, as well as I believe all episodes of Halo Season 2 are now available on Paramount Plus. So I'll be doing a season review of Halo Season 2. That'll be on my channel soon. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.